Hey guys, welcome back to Intelligent Faith 315. I'm Pastor Jay, host of the website and put up some of the content. We're glad to have you guys with us. If you are viewing this on the YouTube channel, I encourage you to pause real quick, open up another tab in your browser, go to our mother website, which is intelligentfaith315.com. And if you like this content, or maybe if you really don't like it and want to find some more stuff to annoy you or bother you about the Christian faith or evidence for Christianity, go to intelligentfaith315.com. You can see more videos, more articles, more links. That's really why we post this stuff on YouTube, is to embed it in our mother website. Especially if you're an atheist or a non-Christian. If you're a seeker for truth, if you're on a quest for truth, you're trying to discover, is it really rational to believe that God exists? Does it make sense to believe that possibly the Christian faith could be true, might have something to it? I really just want to welcome you to Intelligent Faith 315. And I'm not trying to be generic when I say this. This site is here for you. I may not know you personally, but you know what? Though you may not believe it, God is real. He knows who you are. And I used to be a person just like you. The reason I myself became a Christian, and now I'm a pastor and studying, etc., and my life has changed, was because of the evidence that exists for the Christian faith. Evidence of a great many varieties. Historical evidence, archaeological, philosophical, scientific, and even prophetic evidence. The wide range of human experience, many different aspects of our world and of reality, they really help verify the validity of the Christian faith and worldview to me. So if you're a person who's skeptical, if you're seeking answers, proof, evidence, I'm really glad you're here, and I really mean that. That's how I was probably about 12 years ago, and I became a Christian. I made a commitment to God and to this person, Jesus Christ, based upon the evidence that I was able to come across through about 2 years of research that convinced me that he is a real person, and actually more than that, he is who he said he really was. That the Bible is reliable as a historical document, but even beyond that. And so I really just do encourage you to hang out. I'm really glad you're with us. As I said, check out our mother website. Once you're there on intelligentfaith315.com, sign up for the email updates. There's a little box on the right-hand side. You can put your email address in there. And all the new content that we generate is going to go directly into your email account. I am very, very interested in people like you. You are the primary reason why this site was made. We're also making this site to help build up Christians and their faith so they can know why we can believe what we can believe, to give them the evidence and the reason it supports our faith, etc., but really for you guys as well. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to continue on with our non-Christian ancient historical sources for the life of Jesus. Do you remember who we covered in our last post? Should have been last Friday, hopefully, when that was posted. Do you remember the ancient non-Christian Roman historian that we mentioned last time? His name was Tacitus. And his dates, if I'm not mistaken, were 55 to 120 AD. He gave us some very interesting references concerning Jesus Christ and concerning the early first century Christians. One was really long, one was short, but we drew out from those two short references about 15 historical facts. And I do encourage you to go over that information again, write it down as we go through this. And actually, guys, if you want to, go to GaryHabermas.com and you can just, print up the document that I'm taking you through. It's called Ancient Non-Christian Sources on the Life of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Or if you don't want to go to GaryHabermas.com, just send me an email at jason@claycup.com, whether you're from South Africa or China. And by the way, if you are, we welcome you to our site. I know we have viewers from there. My buddy Nels is from South Africa. And I would love to send you this document and many, many other resources that we have. So, anyways, we're going to continue. We talked about Tacitus last time, and today we're going to talk about Suetonius, and if time permits, the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, a man very well known in the Christian and non-Christian world for his historical books and documents and references. So, here we go. Suetonius. His dates are from 40 AD to about 120 AD, okay? So first Tacitus, and now Suetonius, another Roman historian, is going to give us historical information about this man, Jesus of Nazareth. Dr. Habermas writes this: Another Roman historian who also makes one reference to Jesus and one to Christians is Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus. Little is known about him except that he was the chief secretary of Emperor Hadrian. His dates were 117 to 138 AD, that's when he was emperor, and that he had access to the imperial record. So this is a very strong, verifiable historical source. The first reference from Suetonius occurs in the section on Emperor Claudius. Claudius' reign was from about 41 to 54 AD, and writing about the same time as Tacitus, Suetonius remarked this concerning Claudius. Here it is, quote, "Because the Jews at Rome caused continuous disturbances at the instigation of Christus, he expelled them from the city," unquote. The translator notes that Christus is a variant spelling of Christ, as noted by other commentators as well, and is virtually the same as Tacitus's Latin spelling. Suetonius refers to a wave of riots which broke out in a large Jewish community in Rome during the year 49 AD, and as a result, the Jews were banished from the city. Incidentally, this statement has an interesting corroboration in the New Testament historical document, in Acts 18 verse 2, which relates that Paul met a Jewish couple from Pontus named Aquila and his wife Priscilla, who had recently left Italy. Why? Because Claudius had demanded that all the Jews leave Rome. So that's fascinating. Suetonius gives even more historical verification of the book of Acts, which incidentally was written by who? A Gentile historian named Luke, who is prized for his historical accuracy in the Gospel of Luke and in the book of Acts. So, pretty fascinating. The second reference from Suetonius is again to the Christians who were tortured by Emperor Nero. Here it is, quote, "After the great fire at Rome, ... punishments were also inflicted on the Christians, a sect professing a new and mischievous religious belief." Period, end quote. Few facts are derived from the two references by Suetonius. The first relates to the expulsion of the Jews from Rome, but it also makes the claim that, number two, it was Christ who caused the Jews to make the uproar in Rome, apparently by his teachings. So those two historical facts are from the first reference. The expulsion of Jews from Rome, but it was Jesus Christ, a man named Christ, who caused the Jews to make the uproar in Rome, apparently through his teachings, which were revolutionary. The second reference is quite similar to the longer statement by Tacitus. It gives us the fact that including the use of the word mischievous to describe the group's beliefs, and fact number 4, the term Christians to identify this group as the followers of the teachings of Christ. So, interesting historical facts from Suetonius. Let's move on now to a very well-known historian, Jewish historian, Flavius Josephus. Josephus, Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, was born in 37 or 38 AD, and he died in 97 AD, and was born into a priestly family and became a Pharisee at the age of 19. If you don't know what a Pharisee is, Google it. Basically just a hyper-strict group of the Judaistic faith. Okay, very, very prominent and mentioned often in the negative sense in the New Testament. He became a Pharisee at the age of 19. After surviving a battle against the Romans, he served Commander Vespasian, that's Titus Vespasian, who later would become emperor, in Jerusalem. After the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, Josephus moved to Rome, where he became the court historian for Emperor Vespasian. So, do you think he might be a credible, non-Christian historical source? Probably. The Antiquities, one of Josephus's major works, provides some valuable but disputed evidence concerning Jesus. Written around 90 to 95 AD, it is earlier than the testimonies of the Roman historians. Josephus speaks about many persons and events of the first century Palestine, and he makes 2 references to Jesus. The first reference is very brief and is in the context of a reference to James, quote, "the brother of Jesus who was called Christ." That's significant because the word Christ, of course, in Greek is Christos, which is the Greek rendering of Mashiach, Messiah, from the Jews. In other words, the man who was prophesied to come to be the Savior that God sent to the nation of Israel and the world. So he says, quote, "the brother of Jesus who was called Christ." What can we learn from this? Here we find a close connection between Jesus and James, and the belief on the part of some that Jesus was the Messiah. It's also interesting to note there that you find historical verification that James, this character who is mentioned in the New Testament Gospels, but then also in the book of James, would seem to give historical verification of at least his identity and name, and as a brother of Jesus as well. Just so you're aware, the New Testament clearly tells us that Jesus had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. His brothers were James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon, and his 2 sisters are unnamed, but that's what's written there. The second reference from Flavius Josephus, Jewish historian, is easily the most important and the most debated, since some of the words appear to be due to the Christian interpolation. In other words, this is a very, very famous reference, and some people believe that it was kind of perverted or changed or interpolated by some early Christians, and we're gonna cover that and get into that. For instance, a portion of the quotation from Josephus reports, "Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was one who did surprising feats." Excuse me. He was one who did surprising feats. He was the Christ. He appeared to them alive again the 3rd day, as the divine prophets had foretold, these and 10,000 other wonderful things concerning him. That is one of the famous quotations from Josephus. An amazing quotation, because he seems to be admitting and aligning himself with a lot of the significant facts that are told about Jesus. But the only problem is that many people, as Dr. Habermas just told us, they dispute that quotation because they say that it was modified and interpolated by some Christians. Is that true? Should we trust that quotation as it is, or should we rely on a different quotation from Josephus? What do you think? Well, we'll find out next week when we come back, and we'll continue on with Flavius Josephus, and then we'll continue on with that with our other ancient, non-Christian historical sources that verify the existence of this man, Jesus of Nazareth. Hope you're enjoying the content. I encourage you to go back over the video, make some notes, go to GaryHabermas.com, print up this article so you can follow me along, you can highlight it, make notes, etc. Check out Dr. Habermas' resources. He's a great historical apologist, especially on the resurrection. He's got some great information, how to basically show from historical evidence that Jesus Christ rising from the dead is the best logical explanation from all the historical facts that we have. He's also got some fascinating lectures and information about near-death experiences that are verifiable scientifically, and also on the Shroud of Turin, some great archaeological, historical, and scientific information about that. He uses both of these areas of research, near-death experiences and the Shroud of Turin, to undergird his support for the resurrection of Jesus Christ as a historical, verifiable event. So, very, very fascinating man. Got some great research. Have a great day. God bless you guys. And until next time, have an intelligent faith. See you then.